All right. Sure as many of you probably know, the last year, or well, this last couple of months has not been the easiest to deal with viruses and quarantine and whatnot. But it has taught me a very, very important lesson. Something probably I should have realized a long time ago, but was reiterated to me again was the importance of letting people know how you are doing, what your situation is, what your emotional state's like, and really just kind of letting yourself be out there and letting people know if you're not doing all right. And I think that personally, this concept of being open about your mental health and open about how you feel about something instead of just bottling it all up is probably one of, if not the most important thing our generation as of now is facing. We as a society, obviously, over the last 20 or so years, have moved forward with the talking about mental health and diseases and how those affect our daily lives, but we still haven't reached that point where we're completely open. So there's a lot of individuals and a surprising amount of them who are male who feel like they just have to bottle everything up and just keep on chugging on, and they can just never open up, either if it's from their parents or their peers, girlfriends, wives. There's just a lot of them that feel like they're trapped or by themselves, and that the only person who's going to get them out of their situation is them. And this has had a catastrophic effect on our generation, both physically and mentally. And for this specific reason, I'd like to share my own personal story about not just finally accepting the help I needed. Back when I used to be a freshman in high school, I had just entered a new relationship and I was going through the motions. And in my family, there is a rule about mental health where it's not taboo to talk about it, but generally you are looked upon differently if you do talk about it and are more open. So, but I, of course, never had any issues beforehand with mental health or with any conditions like that. So I never had felt a need to express how I felt. And as things went along and my relationship started to get worse, my friends were not as nice to me as they could have been. They started emotionally abusing me, saying horrible things about me. My own girlfriend decided that things were done, and I just kept digging, I guess in the sense, digging myself deeper and deeper into a hole. And I still felt like I had to do everything myself, and that no one else was going to get it done for me, especially with how my family was. There was just, I truly thought that no one was going to pull myself out besides me, and I was basically last ditch. If I couldn't do it, it wasn't going to get done. And I can fully admit that after in October, when that relationship finally ended, I hit rock bottom. I bottomed out. I could not take it anymore. I was physically tired. I was emotionally tired. I needed an out, and this accumulated in thoughts of suicide, depression, self-hatred at myself for not doing enough, even though I was killing myself trying to do everything. And it took a couple of therapists for me to realize that it truly wasn't my fault for what had happened, and that I wasn't horrible for not completely just fixing everything. And I mean, my depressive phase, it went on for a couple months. I most mornings didn't even want to get out of bed. I didn't want to interact with anyone, and if I had to interact with people, it was at the bare minimum, bare bones, enough to get by. That existence for about from the November till about February was just one of the worst ones I've ever had in my life. But I think the lowest point of that was the thoughts of stabbing and ending my own life. It happened around November-ish. I was sitting in an office talking to a therapist at the time, and I saw something on the desk, and my brain just said, "That's it. I've had enough. Put it through your wrists. Let's go." And thinking about that now, and especially then, I think that is what truly convinced me that I couldn't do it alone. That there was no way that I was going to pull through that by myself. I needed to tell somebody that I wasn't okay, because I'd been very closed off. Even when people tried to talk to me about it, I'd always keep to myself. But this is the moment that I really said, "All right, this is it. I need to get her done, and I need to talk to somebody about this." This of course, because I'm have a very supportive family, even though they're a little on edge about the whole mental illness things. They're still very supportive of my cause, but I know there's a lot of individuals out there who don't have that support system. They don't have the friends, the family who will be there at all times for them. And some people who even will look down upon them for talking about their emotions. Right now, I have an employee who doesn't have anyone. I mean, he doesn't like his stepdad. His mom won't talk to him, so he's really trapped, both figuratively and literally, in a garage with no way to step out, with no one to talk to, with no one to work his feelings out with, and he feels he's at an end. He's in a hole, and this really kind of brings in this whole piece of like why we as a society treat some people's mental health issue as the forefront of our cause, the piece that we need to address immediately, but then we treat other members of society like we don't care about them. We brush them off. We tell them, just grow up, stop being so afraid, you'll get over it, it's just a phase. And I mean, the majority of who this is directed at, unfortunately, it's males. Females tend to, not in all cases, but in most cases, when they are depressed, when they are thinking of suicidal thoughts, they get the attention they needed. It is the males and the boys who, as a society, we have been pelting them with different issues and different social standards that either weren't their fault or they were just born into, that we accuse them of, claim it's their fault, claim that everything that's wrong is them, and they on top of everything else that they have to deal with, traps them in a hole, and we drive them to death. And then we as a society are shocked that so many of them take their life. A shocking statistic from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention found that the percentage of death per 100,000 people for people aged 15 to 24 jumped from 10.4 in 2009 to almost 15 in 2018. While on paper that doesn't sound like a very big number, when you reckon it out for, say, the population of Arizona, that is a starkingly high number of people who are ending their own lives. These aren't attempts; these are actual successful suicides that are being committed by the people we are leaving behind. And a lot of the time, school systems and educational institutions and even work institutions will attempt to put in a plan to solve this. Like my school, Sandra Day, attempted to do what they called a hope zone to help and let kids express what they're feeling. But this had mixed results and mixed success because a lot of kids, especially kids like me, who are they think that they can do everything themselves. They don't want to go talk to someone like a counselor, or they won't go talk to a therapist because there still is a negative stigma around talking to a therapist and talking to a psychiatric personnel. It's something that you can't get rid of. Once you go and start talking to somebody, then around your classmates, around your family, you have a label upon you that you can never get rid of. And so a lot of people just don't even attempt to do it because they don't want that label upon them. Like somebody thinks, oh, there's something wrong with you. They want to fit in with everyone else. They don't want to be separated from the group. And this is unfortunate because these people are genuinely here to try and help these individuals out, but they, in a sense, actually worsen their own scenario because they come on a little too strong. They're a little too in their face about getting help and getting results. Well, that works for some people and it works for some individuals. For a majority of others, it's too intimidating, it's too out there, it's too in the open for them, and they feel like they're going to be prejudiced and they're going to be pushed out of their groups for it. So, and oftentimes, this is presented as sort of a dead end where we as a society present that, oh yeah, people are killing themselves, and oh yeah, people aren't talking about their emotions, and there never seems to be a bona fide solution to these problems. And I think the first step to solving these issues is to be more open about it, to destroy, by talking more and having our generation engage more in mental health talk, we can destroy the stigma around getting help. And I think that right there, more than anything else, is going to be the game changer that people need. Because if getting help is not seen as being separate from a group, but rather being accepted by people that, hey, you just need a little more help than everyone else and we're glad to give it to you, then I feel like a majority of individuals can get out what they need to get out and they can speak about what they feel and they don't bottle it up inside or scream or vent at people or ultimately decide to just keep it in until they can't handle it anymore and collapse or kill themselves. And I believe that by engaging in these practices of talking more about social health and focusing more effort on social programs to help with mental health, such as more money into the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and Mental Health USA, helping out these organizations so that they can reach these people, will be, I think, the most vital in really allowing people to open up and get the help they need, get the results they want, get their life back on track so that they're not stuck in this cycle of vicious self-hatred and depression. But ultimately, this falls upon everyone. This falls upon society as a whole. In order to save members of society, we have to change society. We have to change the talk. We have to get out there and we have to speak up about these injustices. We have to speak up about how we have to get rid of this stigma. We have to remove it so that these individuals are pushed so that they can get the help they need and that they don't feel pushed out of their zone or comfort zone, or that they're separated or isolated as a single case, but rather as accepting of their whatever health issue they have as a community, so we can together move forward to a bigger and brighter future. Thank you very much.